Good morning. We'll be doing chapter 5, market segmentation. Excuse me. Market segmentation. Process of dividing a market into groups of similar customers and selecting the most appropriate groups for the firm to serve. Target market is a group of segment a company selects to serve, hence the name target market. Figure 5.1 in the next slide is a model of the market segmentation process. First, delineate firm's current situation, determine consumer needs and wants, divide markets on relevant dimensions, develop product positioning, how you want to position in the market, different attributes, how you want to position in the minds of the consumers, decide the segmentation strategy, and design the marketing mix strategy. Now we have to also delineate the situation of the firm currently. A firm must do a complete situational analysis when embarking on a new or modified marketing program. In other words, before you change anything, you have to first understand the situation that you are in. Such an analysis aids in determining objectives, opportunities, and constraints to be considered when selecting target markets and developing marketing mixes. Continuing with the idea of determining consumer needs and wants. Successful marketing strategies depend on discovering and satisfying consumer needs and wants. This is central to marketing. Without doing that, you're not going to produce products or render services that really satisfy consumers. And then, of course, they will vote with their feet and walk away. At a strategic level, consumer needs and wants are translated into operational concepts. In other words, production of product and rendering of service. We have to divide the markets on relevant dimensions. 3 important things to be considered here. Number 1, a priori versus post hoc segmentation, which we'll talk about. Relevant dimensions to use for segmentation, and basis for segmenting consumer and organizational buyer markets. In other words, consumer versus B2B. A priori versus post hoc segmentation. A priori means that you've already decided on something beforehand. Is the marketing manager decides on the appropriate basis for segmenting in advance of doing any research on a market. Now this is dangerous because it's flying blind. This is basically closing your eyes and driving, and not recommended. Post hoc segmentation, people are grouped into segments on the basis of research findings. Relevance of segmentation decisions. Selecting appropriate dimension requires managerial expertise, managerial experience, previous research, purchase trends, managerial judgment, consideration and research of sought benefits. Very important because you have to see what people want, what benefits they want from this product or from this service, and then you take it from there. Basis for segmentation. Benefit segmentation focuses on satisfying needs and wants by grouping consumers on the basis of the benefits they're seeking in a product. For example, somebody wants to buy a sports car. So the producer of the sports car has to see what benefits within the sports car people will want. For example, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Gas mileage is not going to be an issue in sports cars because people don't really care about your gas mileage. They're more important than performance. They'll look at the handling. They'll look at the look of the sports car and how it is perceived as far as status. Those are the things that people are going to look at. Psychographic segmentation focuses on consumer lifestyles as the basis for segmentation, and we group people based on their lifestyles. Best known in segmentation is a rubric called VALS, which stands for values and lifestyles. VALS framework and segments. Vertical dimension segments people based on the degree on which they are innovative and have resources. So that's on the vertical side. Horizontal dimensions represent primary motivation for buying, which includes 3 different types. Consumers driven by knowledge and principles, goal of demonstrating success, desire for social or physical activity, variety, and risk-taking. Those are things that you have to take into consideration. Figure 5.4 has the figure itself with all the different parameters that we just mentioned. On the top, you have innovators. Below, you have survivors. Innovators are the people that are, free from worry. And as a result of that freedom from worry, they're able to think of things. Obviously, survivors who have low resources and low innovation. And it's not because they're not creative necessarily, just they're so busy living hand to mouth that they don't have time to really innovate. Whereas innovators have high resources and high innovation. And of course, you have your primary motivations, you have your ideals, you have your thinkers and your believers, achievers. You have on top, those are your innovators, and then you have strivers, people that strive to achieve but don't necessarily have the ways of doing it. And in the realm of self-expression, you have experiences, people that want to experience something, and of course, makers. Those are people eventually who want to make it in life and experience the full effect of being an experiencer. Yes, that's the best way to say it. Basis for segmentation. Geodemographic segmentation identifies specific households in a market by focusing on local neighborhood geography to create classifications of actual, addressable, mappable neighborhoods where consumers live and shop. Nielsen's Prism is an example of a geodemographic system. Nielsen is a company that measures consumer behavior and consumer purchasing, etc. Develop product positioning. Products can be positioned by focusing on their superiority to competitive products based on one or more attributes by use or application in terms of particular types of product users relative to a product class directly against particular competitors. Develop product positioning. Positioning map. Visual depiction of consumer perceptions of competitive products, brands, or models. Used to investigate how to position a product. Constructed by surveying customers about various product attributes, developing dimensions, and a graph indicating the relative position of competitors. You have an example over here, figure 5.6, positioning map for an automobile. You have various attributes: luxurious, functional, traditional, and sporty. And of course, depending where they fall on the graph, that will indicate where their main objectives lie. For example, the Lexus is high on the luxurious. On the traditional, you have, more towards the traditional, and you have like your Mercury. More towards your traditional slash luxurious, you're going to have Mercedes. Well, Mercedes is traditional because that's been around the longest, and it's extremely luxurious. Decide segmentation strategy. A firm may decide not to enter the market, to segment, but to be a mass marketer, to market to one segment, and to market to more than one segment, and design a separate marketing mix for each. Decide segmentation strategy. A viable segment must be measurable. Firms must be capable of measuring its size and characteristics. Meaningful, should have sufficient sales and growth potential to offer long-run profits. And marketable, can be reached and served by the firm in an efficient manner. Design marketing mix strategy. Selection of target market and designing the market should go hand in hand. Many of the marketing mix decisions are made in conjunction with the target market selection. Thank you for listening, and thank you for coming. Have a great day and be safe.